We continue ever on through the post-game, with several of the quests from previous episodes still waiting for us to make progress. Also waiting for us are 3 more characters in theme teams, all of which you could call rivals. Okay, one of them has been more of a consistent enemy, but we'll get to him. The first one we face, who is surely our friend, was also our very first opponent, Cain. The Pretty Boy has 3 theme teams, starting with, well, Pretty Boy. That's a fight that starts on the rare Rainbow Field. To Houndoom, he sticks Roserade up front. So Houndoom says so long to, Focus Sash. It comes back with a sludge bomb that hurts Houndoom tremendously and poisons him. He survives it all to finish off the Masquerader, but poison takes him. Attempting to go for Trick Room gets a Gardevoir to stand before Slowbro, and his Moonblast takes out Slowbro with 1 strike. Bad. Mawile takes exactly 75% damage from one of those 2 before killing Gardevoir with Iron Head. Next is my most hated Pokemon from Cain, Primarina, whose own Moonblast did not kill Vanillux, but a special attack drop on him ruined Freeze Dry's chances of killing. However, Vanillux hails on Cain's parade, and Rainbow Field has dissipated. Still, Primarina is too strong, and switching to Camerupt was a bad play. He barely takes less than half from Moonblast while walking in, but a hidden power trounces him before he could attack. As it were, Primarina's status as my most hated Pokemon remains incredibly justified, as it blasts through all the rest of my team. We do this again, but with Alakazam and Zebstrika instead of Mawile and Drampa. Houndoom isn't poisoned this time around, so we get to be informed of Primarina coming out second. I take absolutely no chances and Gigavolt Havoc him with Zeb, one-shotting him. Another grass type from Cain is dancing in, Blossom, but a still living Houndoom's Flamethrower is just short of beating him, as he falls to hidden power. My ultra-fast Mega Alakazam can knock him down, but Gardevoir is next. I don't have Mawile anymore, which means I don't have a great option to him. I decide what I can defeat is the Rainbow, so Vanillux comes out attempting to Light Screen, but is stopped from doing so. Rainbow disappears again, then I use Zeb to Thunder Wave the Gardevoir, but he still got to Moonblast Zeb directly out. However, Paralysis proved to be his undoing now, as Gardevoir fails to move the first turn against Camerupt, whose Earthquake nearly beats him. Gardevoir shoots a Moonblast second turn, but Camerupt survived to take out Gardevoir. But Ground won't work on Mismagius next. I don't have Shadow Ball on Alakazam, but Psychic would have killed him except for another Focus Sash. However, a responding Hidden Power doesn't beat Alakazam, and Hail knocks out Mismagius for me. The last one out, assuredly wanting to fake out Alakazam, is Mega Lopunny. Regrettably, I have no Protect on Alakazam, so he takes the fake and faints. I still have Slowbro though, and Lopunny's choice of move was High Jump Kick, which doesn't do that much to Slowbro as she Trick Rooms. A Psychic takes down Lopunny afterwards, defeating Cain and his 6 Pretty Boys. Cain is just glad he's here, and he wants to sing for me. Cain, I hate the circus. Not only does Cain sing on Big Top, but his intro is Chinchino. I'm not guessing if Houndoom can kill that with Flamethrower or something. I know that it can kill me, so Houndoom Destiny Bonds, then gets Wake Up Slap to go to sleep, permanently. Chinchino falling off stage with him. But Big Top's Seed Effect goes off as well on Cain's next Pokemon, Pirouette Meloetta, responding to my Vanillux going out there. There wasn't a chance for Vanillux to take a turn as an even more powerful Acrobatics makes him into Shaved Ice. What makes me despair is when Mega Alakazam still doesn't outspeed Meloetta and dies through the same move. Trick Room it is, though I have little hope left. Slowbro can survive the aerial onslaught to set it up, then Psychic down the Dancer. Then Cain wants to send out a Lapras next, and I know what song a Lapras likes to sing. The one that makes Pokemon perish. Drampa hits it with Energy Ball, and the off-typing keeps it from killing Lapras. But then it uses Outrage, and its off-typing keeps it from killing Drampa. However, his Rage cannot do more than kill Lapras because of Life Orb and Hail. And what would come out next from Cain but that fucking Primarina again? Meanwhile, Slowbro has 2 fighting moves besides Psychic to use. Great selection. A Psychic from Slowbro leaves him defeated by Moonblast, but Camera can force the song to progress one more verse after killing the Primarina with Tectonic Rage. A common sight in Big Top, Altaria, comes out next, but it does the best thing it can do against me and ditches its flying type by Mega Evolving. The first Rock Slide makes it flinch, but the following Earthquake I use doesn't beat it, as it harmonizes with Camerupt to beat him with the same move. This second theme team was far more difficult than the first. I had to come to this concert 4 more times, this 5th try now starting with Hariyama, who fails to do anything noteworthy. I had been using Slowbro up front in the attempts before this, who I discovered could survive Cinccino's Tail Slap even at 5 hits. Then, as long as Focus Blast lands, then the Cinccino goes down. With Trick Room up, Vanillix meets the Primarina and listens to its ridiculously powerful sparkling aria, finding out that this damn bastard is slower than Vanillix. So all he can do is put up Light Screen before hearing the encore. With the screen, I know that Mawile should have 1 turn of leeway here, so she Swords Dances and survives the song, then Iron Head crunches the seal. Mawile then tears through 2 of Kane's team with ease, first sucker punching down the Lapras, then playing rough with Meloetta. But Trick Room's performance is over, and Mega Altaria is on. I decide to give up Mawile here, sucker punching once more to take half before Earthquake buries her. I'm not feeling good about Slowbro going out for a second time, but Altaria's play rough actually does way less damage than I'd think, so Trick Room makes a reappearance. Better than that, Psychic can finish off the Altaria, but we have 1 more Pokemon to go, and with Mawile fainted, I don't like it. Clefable. However, it turns out I have a singer on my team, Drampa, who bellows with Hyper Voice, deafening everyone in the tent. Clefable barely survives this and fires back a Dazzling Gleam, but Drampa is not beaten by this. Instead, angry as hell, he repeats himself another time. Gross fight. Big Top being awful and painful like always. But Kane has 1 more theme team, and 1 more killing field to suffer through. Subverted Expectations. Oh boy, that's an inverse field name. Kane begins by borrowing the bug Shelly named after him, Scolipede. It loses its first turn using a Quince Seed while Houndoom is up front. Dark Pulse is his best option, but it is not super effective. That's fine though, we just crit that and kill the bug instantly. Another Meloetta is working with Kane, the one that sings instead of dances. Strange they weren't in opposite fights, but it also throws away its first turn. To that, Slowbro can safely Trick Room and fire back Psychic to remove that boosted special defense, but she goes down to Psyshock. I momentarily get extremely mad when Iron Head from Mawile leaves Aria on the slightest amount of HP, but it flinched, so it's done. Then comes Lapras, who normally sucks to deal with, but on Inverse Field, it has a critical double weakness to Ice. It can Ice Shard first to hurt Vanillix, but he responds with Blizzard and Lapras is decimated. Another reprising Pokemon, Roserade, is here now, but Drampa's Energy Ball obliterates it before Kane finally uses his trusty ace in a theme team, Nidoking. I went to Mawile, but then get bitten yet again by Play Rough missing. Amazingly, though Steel is such a bad defensive type on Inverse, she lives through super effective hidden power to then one-shot Nidoking. But that single miss now chewed up the extra turn of Trick Room, and we already needed an extra turn for Kane's last Pokemon, Mimikyu. I can't even Sucker Punch that damn thing before it Shadow Sneaks first to kill Mawile. Houndoom goes out with his raw speed to Dark Pulse and flinch the Mimikyu, but a second Dark Pulse only takes half. Then Houndoom is forced to experience the horror of Mimikyu's Z move, Let's Snuggle Forever. He's dead, and I have 3 Pokemon with poor speed left. Camerupt faints to Play Rough, so does Vanillix. Just kidding! The Clutch Master survives that to kill Mimikyu with Blizzard! First try on the last of Kane's teams. With our first rival out of the way, we can move on to another rival-ish person. Well, I guess Blake was never really our rival. More of a dude I wanted to punch in the face really bad. Former Meteor Agent Canis Major also has 3 theme teams. He starts with a console defrag. God damn it, Blake! Glitch field from the start! And you know what this gets to be? The Rotom team! He first starts with the fridge and oven as Houndoom and Mawile hit the field. Oh yeah, Mawile. She's absolutely ruined on Glitch Field as all of her moves turn to normal type. Meanwhile, Houndoom would have torched the fridge, but it just threw away its types with a seed. God, this is going to be stupid. Heat Wave and Sucker Punch hit the unpowered fridge but fail to kill, as 2 successive Thunderbolts rain on Mawile to knock her out. Camera Up comes in to Rock Slide the oven as the fridge is beaten by another Heat Wave. The oven remains, and Thunderbolts Houndoom to nearly beat him. Now the ever-horrible Washer is here, completely hosing my fire types. But not this turn, as its Hydro Pump shoots wide of Camera Up and Rock Slide takes down the oven. But man, that washing machine is durable. Every single opponent so far has had electric typing, so it's been totally a bad idea to try Trick Rooming with Slowbro. So I instead send Drampa as the Lawnmower arrives. Then before Camera Up can attack again, the Washer's Hydro Pump finds him to one-shot him. Drampa survives a Leaf Storm to launch an Energy Ball to the Water Rotom, but it doesn't kill it. Hariyama is here since I was expecting Ice types from Blake, and he can fake out the Washer to death, but then he's instantly eviscerated by another Leaf Storm, which didn't lose power from last turn because Mower's base special defense is actually higher than its special attack, so those special attack drops are not affecting its power. Terribly, that special defense also kept Flamethrower from Drampa from doing more than half. But now it turns out that Blake, though he could have had all Rotoms, actually doesn't. He has a different cybernetic Pokemon, Porygon Z, which pitches its normal type too. Disgusting, and I have run out of everything but Slowbro. Z whips us with Blizzard, Drampa barely surviving. A Leaf Storm misses thankfully, but then Hyper Voice does barely anything to them, only killing Drampa thanks to Life Orb. Then Psychic only does a third. This is going to be sickening to beat. Yet again, we can't fight Blake without it being filled with pain. I lost to this asshole 4 more times before I tried fighting Rotom with Rotom. I bring in my Washer, who will be suited to trashing the oven, along with Mega Alakazam, replacing Mawile and Drampa. Meanwhile, Houndoom was put aside for Shedinja to be here. We all fire large attacks off at each other, Psychic at the fridge, Thunderbolt at my Washer, Overheat at my Alakazam, and Hydro Pump at the oven. But all of us stay standing, oven on a single pixel of health. I finish off the oven with Alakazam while deciding that if my Rotom has to, it needs to kill both of them, so it discharges. The fridge blizzarded us, but neither of my side die. But I end up giving up Alakazam hitting it with my own move that also killed the second Rotom over there. Mower and Washer arrive on my doorstep next, as Shedinja gets in here. Sadly, my Rotom was an inferior model, as the other 2 Thunderbolt it. This resulted in the second one redirecting the Shedinja to fail, letting it leech life to almost kill the Mower. It sucks that he went last to do that, meaning if they can target Shedinja, then he won't be able to kill the Mower. That is, unless he renders it inoperable with Shadow Sneak first. I find out the washing machine does have a move to kill Shedinja, but it's toxic and it missed. Therefore, Trick Room got to start, which gives us a great advantage. Z has returned, but Slowbro's Psychic and Shedinja's Shadow Claw on the No type only bring it to half, while 2 Thunderbolts join together to kill Slowbro. I decide I'm not tolerating Z anymore, so I crush it with Tectonic Rage from Camerupt. A Shadow Claw rips some of the paint from the Washer, then I'm granted great luck with a missed Hydro Pump. But now I reveal the last of Blake's team, and it is not Base nor Fan Rotom, it's Porygon 2. Oh fuck you, that means it has Eviolite. Camerupt has to use Earthquake to do any meaningful damage, but it will only hit Porygon 2. But then I forgot that this Porygon version didn't throw away its normal type, so Shadow Claw just whiffed on it, which I'm scared is going to cost me dearly. It may have, as it now does Z conversion to boost all its stats. Now it became Psychic type, which on Glitch keeps its immunity to Ghost types, though now, Leech Life will be super effective. As for Camerupt, he couldn't dodge another Hydro Pump. I know that Shedinja is still susceptible to dying to Toxic, so I should kill the washer to isolate Porygon 2. That's what Hariyama does instantly, close combating the final Rotom to trash compactor it. However, Leech Life didn't kill the last Cybermon, and its Psychic wipes out Hariyama. But even if Porygon 2 had a move to kill Shedinja, it's too late for it. Trick Room stayed to this point, and one more Leech Life wins the fight. You can never say fuck Glitchfield too much. Blake says, nice stall, bro. And now we have to fight on Inverse. I hate you, Blake. Oh look, an Ice-type team fighting us on Inverse. Haven't seen that 2 other times in theme teams. It begins with Aurorus, and Houndoom says, Destiny Bond. Now we begin this 5-on-5 battle, as I send out Slowbro. Yeah, this is like fighting an electric team normally. Glaceon is out. Slowbro though does manage to put up Trick Room after living Blizzard, but she still has 2 fighting moves because I don't plan well for anything. Psychic only does a little as Slowbro is defeated, replaced by a badly positioned Hariyama, who only brings Glaceon to red before dying to further Blizzarding. Camerupt's Earthquake takes out Glaceon, and now we have to face Ice Tank Avalugg. It boosts all of its stats with a seed at the cost of 1 turn, a turn I spend using Tectonic Rage on it for over half. But Earth Power after doesn't bring it down, as it avalanches Camerupt and buries him. Trick Room left me then, and I know this is over. I think I can at least beat Avalugg with Sucker Punch, until it failed because it was going for Recover. Mawile can't do it, but Drampa barely can while being Toxicked. Being Dragon against Ice types on Inverse is a good position, but Drampa is too slow. And all Blake needs to beat him is this Mega Abomasnow using Woodhammer. I lost another time after trying to bring in Vanillux for Hariyama, then got here where Slowbro started Trick Room and did a third with her own Blizzard before fainting. Drampa has his own Blizzard now too, killing Aurorus, and the Mega Snowman is back. I kept Drampa there and went for Energy Ball, but after it flattened Drampa with Woodhammer, it was still alive after Recoil with red HP. Mawile clocks it with Sucker Punch, Avalugg returns. It gives up its first turn with the Seed again, and Vanillux wipes out over half its HP with Blizzard. It takes its only chance to attack by using Toxic, and it dies to Blizzard too. I thought that Vanillux was a shoo-in being an Ice type against an Ice type team with Trick Room up, until Glaceon came out and survived Blizzard with a single point of health. It uses Blizzard back and Vanillux is lost. Sucker Punch cleans up another opponent, then, oh look! It's Fucker! It stays true to its name by responding to Houndoom's Destiny Bond by using Hail, only to then use Protect and then Surf. Do you not have an Ice move? You know who would love Surf on this field? Camerupt. I switch to him and do a ton with Tectonic Rage while the only thing Walrein continues to use is Surf, which does so little to Camerupt. The following Earthquake crits Blake's shitty ace, leaving him with one last Ice type, Glalie. So Houndoom goes back out to use Destiny Bond against the incoming Ice move. It used Frustration, and Houndoom lived. Apt move. I bail him out to Camerupt, who is roasted by an overheat from a Glalie, then Houndoom returns and Mawile is the winner by default when this time Destiny Bond removes Glalie. What a messy fight. Only one more fight I will ever have to do against Blake, literally will not have to fight him again after this. Can't touch this. There was going to be a copyrighted song here, but, copyrighted song. Anyway, Blake decided to give his succeeding Ice Leader's field a spin. Mirror Arena. And the first thing in my face yet again is Fucker. Slowbro has little she'll ever do to that thing, especially now that after all the other fights she ditched Focus Blast. But turns out, Walrein also has stunningly little to do against my Water type, using only Ice Beam and Surf, which do much less than my Psychic, which, even though it boosted Evasion, that literally is a downgrade here because Psychic will instead bounce off the mirror to hit Walrein anyway and do quite a good hit. Even though Trick Room got quite thin off only one matchup, we're ahead going into Porygon 2. What's shitty is that the Eviolite it is definitely holding keeps it from dying to Hariyama's close combat, so he gets shot with Tri-Attack for half. He held up quite good to that even though he lost Special Defense. Porygon 2 is chopped down to be replaced with this former Ice Leader's next not an Ice type, Starmie. What sucked is that when Mawile went out to Sucker Punch it, the first one failed because it put up Reflect, which is awful for Sucker Punch, both for the increase in defense and the fact that if it misses thanks to that extra evasion stage, Mawile will hurt herself. I predicted it to screen a second time and went for Swords Dance to make sure we kill the starfish if we hit it, but now I have to contend with 2 evasion stages. Then I end up going a bit nuts and decide we aren't leaving it up to ranges. I proceed to maximize attack, though in the meantime Mawile was briefly frozen to lose 1 turn trying this, but when it finally came time to throw the punch, it landed and killed! Now as long as nothing else evades her punch, Mawile should be able to sweep everything else. And she proceeds to immediately miss the very next Glaceon who double-staged of evasion and died of crashing through a mirror and Ice Beam. But Houndoom is unfettered since Trick Room faded ages ago, and Glaceon's evasion makes Flamethrower unmissing. It only starts Hail before it is struck by 2 Flamethrowers to faint. That Hail it set up though? Well, setup is the operative word. Alolan Sand Slash. But Slowbro is alive, and yet again is well suited to survive Sand Slash, who can only Iron Head without making her flinch. Trick Room is back. Sadly this time, she cannot do very much to the Icy Quill Rat, who takes only a bit of damage from Brick Break while missing once to hurt herself badly and pass out shortly after. Hariyama rushes in and clobbers the Sand Slash even with higher evasion, and all we have to do is beat this Glalie. It didn't even increase evasion. Glalie crushed, Blake beaten, goodbye Blake. But all pushing Blake out of the way did was leave me with the last opponent today, the character to whom the word rival definitely applies the most. Fern. Yet again, 3 theme teams are presented to us. Of course, Fern is nothing if not a contrarian. In a swamp field, he puts out an Empoleon first, as Houndoom knows what he must do yet again. But then the Empoleon uses Aqua Jet first. It didn't kill him, but even with Destiny Bond up, Empoleon shouldn't use Aqua Jet. Oh, well, Fern was stupid. 1 down, and that's as far as I go. Slowbro goes out to the Pokemon best known for having the ability this theme team is named after, Serperior. It used Leaf Storm to one-shot her and gained 2 special attack stages. Only Mawile could hit it with Sucker Punch without killing. My entire team is swept by that monster. I tell you, this fight sucked. Empoleon up front was horrible, especially trying to Trick Room in front of it. It would knock off Slowbro to reduce me to 5 Trick Room turns, and it was pretty unkillable anyway. Coming up to attempt 5, I completely ditched the idea of Trick Room and start with Zebstrika using Gigavolt Havoc. It lived by 1% the attempt before, but this time a range takes it out. It's really good it died like that, because it coaxes Serperior straight out here. Last time, Empoleon living let it put up Stealth Rocks, which completely defeated my answer to Serperior, Talonflame. Brave Bird shreds that starter, but another tanky water type is up, Milotic. I could have Zeb battle it, but instead give up Houndoom and Destiny Bonded away from me. Putting Talonflame out after since he no longer has Gale Wings brings forth a Bisharp. Shit, you know how this goes, right? The speed drops from the swamp will give it a Swords Dance every turn with Defiant. For some completely asinine reason, I went for Brave Bird instead of Flare Blitz, which was a real squander because Talonflame survives Sucker Punch. But I do have one way to stop this chess piece from running over my team, Bastiodon. He can't be killed thanks to Sturdy, so he takes a knockoff from the Bisharp and Metal Burst back to remove it. Fern next sends another Pokemon Radimus would use, Malamar, but I have a Mega Alakazam with Signal Beam ready to blast a hole right through it. At the same time, Mega Alakazam traced the ability of the fight Contrary, so his speed raises in the face of the last opponent, another Contrarian, Lurantis. Psychic doesn't kill, but neither does its Leaf Storm, and I win the fight. This seems like a good time as any. Fuck you, Fern. The swag jockey believed it was him on the hero's journey in this game. You're living in a fairy tale. The first page of this story is a Ferrothorn, who is only single weak to fire here. That keeps it alive to Gyro Ball, but a burn just cut that power to let Houndoom survive with a lot extra. Flamethrower 2 brings it down, but now it's time to move Houndoom out of the way of this Whimsicott. Mawile can take both the Moonblast it fires better and deck it with her Iron Head. A Torterra arrives next, and none of these Pokemon are good to use Trick Room against. Drampa meets it instead, but he is clocked by Iron Head first. And he lives, and he is pissed off. Flamethrower goes back at the Tortoise and reduces it to ash, before Life Orb cuts off Drampa's rage. Then we send Houndoom back out into the Queen of Resets, Czarina. Another Czarina falls to a cheesy strategy after it bashes Houndoom with Play Rough. Now I really want Trick Room, but Fern of course had something especially for Slowbro. Trevenant. Then she survives a Horn Leech, something I was sure she'd die to, and Trick Room starts. Her Shadow Ball though is well beneath the strength to kill, and it gains some of that HP back with another Leech. But with a Camerupt, the Ghost Tree disintegrates, leaving us with the last, Sceptile. You're going to Mega that, right? Yep, and do I have the thing for you? Blizzard. This is my story, Fern. The first try proves it. But like always, Fern always has a backup plan, no matter how shitty things are. Come on and smile. The Grass-type user returns to his roots with a fight on Forest Field, leading with Whimsicott. Well, this won't end well for you, Fern. Houndoom was out-prioed by a Tailwind from the Cotton Ball, and it survived Heat Wave with Focus Sash, but then the now burning field singes the last fiber on it. But Fern isn't so stupid to use 6 grass types for a field that is probably going to light up. He brings out Manaphy next. It can't kill Slowbro with one Signal Beam. Trick Room starts. Slowbro though can't kill it with one Shadow Ball and faints to the next beam. Vanillix comes in to freeze dry the Mythical down even with reduced power, and Fern is back to grass types with Gourgeist. I incinerate the big smile on that Jack-o'-lantern with Camerupt, only for a bigger smile to be up next, Ambipom. It used a normal gem fake out to take over half away from Camerupt for free, then I make the dumb move of not using the boosted Lava Plume for Earthquake instead. Ambipom lived and used Acrobatics to end my Camel. However, I wipe the smile off that monkey when the fires and hail get it to fall over anyway. I need something slow for this blind switch, so that will be Drampa. Fern thought he'd mow the lawn today with Rotom. Instead, I scorch the earth and it. All that's left is Raichu, which is an off-the-wall choice, but I guess it fills the single criteria of smiling. All it takes is one Sucker Punch from Mawile to take down the last theme team today on the first try. Also, as opposed to all the other opponents in the nightclub, Fern is the only one who gets upset losing to us. Anyway, fuck you, Fern. That completes every theme team from all of our rivals. Let's go to the pavilion and fight ourselves a boss who you could almost consider another rival. We have fought him several times already. I'd rather not hear from him anymore personally, but we now battle Eustace again. What's terrible is his Sharpedo opener against Greninja. I have nothing good for it, and with its opening Protect, I can't even do damage to it before it speed boosts and kills Greninja with Crunch now that he was Water type. If I want to win this, then Talonflame has to kill this, so Flying Gem Brave Bird flies at it, Sharpedo is down, but Weavile replaces it, which is really bad. It probably still outspeeds Talonflame, and with no more Gale Wings, it's much better to go to Aegislash. As expected, Ice Shard flew this way, and Aegislash took it better than Talonflame. However, that crit and the following knockoff taking Aegislash down to 17 HP made my stomach drop for a moment, but she responds with Iron Head to kill the Weasel. The final Pokemon, though, is Scizor, and with Aegislash still alive, I can perfectly counter it. King's Shield the obvious Bullet Punch, it loses attack stages. Aegislash faints next turn, and Talonflame is in. Because of that attack drop, Bullet Punch does just low enough damage that Talonflame's oft useless Flare Blitz is the perfect move to one-shot Scizor, and the recoil damage doesn't knock out Talonflame. Wow! A close pavilion boss that I actually won for once. Sick fight! 10 exhibition fights down. Time to get to work. What's on the docket today? Let's see. Marcello is waiting for us to fix it, which involves obtaining 100 Z cells. We need implied 100% Zygarde in order to deal with the Yveltal disrupting the Rotocrene picnic. We need a Rayquaza to break free 2 gym leaders using warring elemental orbs. So, Zero, what's new? His answer actually is nothing. He first gives us his gratitude about helping Lumi, feeling that despite her and Eve no longer physically bound to him, he's still attached to them. And that brings us to the situation. There are none. We are unable to detect any new anomalies. Zero wonders if Lynn stopped trying, or is trying way harder and keeping her activity quiet. However, he says that there was one single thing to go take a look at. There was a minor blip on their radar of something back at the meteor site where we battled Deoxys. He says, though, that someone else went and checked and found nothing. So all we can do now is either check it again, or wait for something else to happen. Well, if we literally have nothing else to do, I don't see why I shouldn't go check it out too. I return to Citrine Mountain and head to the highest point again to return to the Deoxys realm. I proceed in towards the meteor again, but unlike what other scouts found, there is something here. Or rather, someone. And that someone, whose form is transparent as if they aren't fully tethered to this world, begins to speak, telling a story we've heard before. From her, in the void, about a meteor that became a shooting star. That shooting star lived happily ever after and brought joy to those who witnessed it. She then says the same will be true for her little meteorite. She says she always kept looking out for her from within his heart. She says that it was once her pendant. Through it, she saved his home at the cost of their memory of it and her. Now, she has done the same, and she is dimming the same way. At the same time, I have been exposed to this power by carrying the pendant and battling its source, as it's the only way I can see this woman now. She thinks that she was meant to be let go, like a firework that brought light for a brief moment. She wishes to go out with a bang like that, and asks if I will share in one last delusion with her. You don't know who this is. You never met her, outside of seeing visions of her in the void and before we found Jirachi. And yet, when I told this woman yes the last time I played this game, I knew exactly who she was. You now battle against Lost Starscaper Xena Van Hanen, the lost wife of Radimus, and Anna's and Noel's mother. With it, you hear one of the most touching tracks in the game, one that has played once before we battled her daughter in the Elite Four, Molly's theme from the third Pokemon movie, titled in-game If That Is What You Wish, composed by Ralph Schuckett. This moment hit me hard last time, and it did again now. You expected there to be nothing here, and instead, you find an answer. The reason for her disappearance. Something that only we are privy to learning due to this strange phenomenon. The consequence of using the powers of certain Pokemon to change the world. Now, we engage Xena in battle, and she leads with a very fitting Pokemon, Lunala. That does bode extremely badly for me, but I attempt to use boosted Dark Pulse to maybe break through its Shadow Shield completely. That Pokemon doesn't have a Shadow Shield. It's a Zoroark. It didn't flinch and responded with Focus Blast to destroy Houndoom. I should have used Sucker Punch with the extra Fairy typing to finish off the Illusionist, but it got to heat up Mawile with Flamethrower for a lot of damage before dying to Play Rough. Now another Dark type is showing up, one we are trying to deal with in our world already. Yveltal. Slowbro has no chance to Trick Room on that, but Vanillux obscuring the night sky also could not survive a Dark Pulse from it either. Camerupt makes a small dent in its health, Slowbro was predictably one-shot before Trick Room, and Drampa could not go either. The only reason Mawile could return to Sucker Punch it down was because it had Life Orb, and burned away most of its HP itself. This permits me to see one Pokemon further, only to be faced with Yveltal's counterpart, Xerneas. Mawile is too slow to use her sure-killing Iron Head on it. On the next attempt, I just allow Zorunala to kill Houndoom after setting up Destiny Bond, removing it 1-for-1. Then Slowbro came out holding a Focus Sash now to Trick Room against the expected Yveltal, doing so by avoiding the flinch. But it also has Sucker Punch to floor Slowbro before she could shoot something back. Mawile's play rough mangled the strange bird, and now actual Lunala is here. Yeah, honestly, giving up Houndoom for fake Lunala wasn't a good play. Mawile remains to Sucker Punch, but it only does half as Moongeist Beam shoots Mawile down. Awfully, a Blizzard from Vanillux fails to kill it either, and even more awfully, it roosted! Now, because Focus Sash was on Slowbro, we already ran out of Trick Room, letting Lunala now open up with its Z-move on Vanillux, menacing Moonray's Maelstrom. Vanillux is atomized, then I expected Drampa to follow after being shot by Moonblast, but he lived with quite a lot, got mad, and Dragon Pulsed the lunar Pokemon to death. But Xerneas returns to a Camerupt and allows him one attack after doing an instant Geomancy, something Starlight Arena permits. His attack is Tectonic Rage, but due to that increased defense, it only takes half from the Stag. There's no reason to continue. Neither Camerupt nor Drampa can beat everything else anyway. The next attempt then sees one of those times when you want Focus Blast to kill a Destiny Bonding Houndoom, and it misses. But instead of trying again, as I switched off Houndoom, Zoroark also switched away to Xerneas. I tried to then go to Slowbro to Trick Room, and it used 2 Geomancies to allow this. However, she's still holding Focus Sash, so I only get 5 turns. Plus, Focus Sash now causes a problem by keeping Slowbro out for an extra turn, doing almost no damage. Mawile's Iron Head can take down Xerneas even with 2 stages of defense, but the real Lunala came in to vaporize Vanillux after he broke its Shadow Shield. Mawile gets another kill with a quad damage Sucker Punch, as we now see another new Pokemon from Xena, Delphox. Because Mawile could dodge a Fire Blast, she was able to throw 2 Sucker Punches, but even with Hail on top of that, the Fox lived and its next Fire Blast ends Mawile. Then its wish was granted and renders all that progress irrelevant. It then quickly dispatched Camerupt with Psychic, then fled from Houndoom to let Yveltal deal with him. Yet again, Houndoom battled the opponent down to a scrap of HP, fainting first, but Yveltal followed due to its Life Orb. But replacing it as Drampa came in is a Pokemon that always gives you pause in Reborn, Absol. Its Fairy-type Night Days brings down my last Pokemon. Damn, Xena's team is powerful and irritating to remove. I keep running out of gas way sooner than her. Drampa goes to rest as I bring in Hariyama instead for the next attempt, hoping to hit the Dark types with some fighting moves. His first showing, though, goes badly when his close combat hits Yveltal. Of course, I'm dumb and forgot at that moment that it's also flying, which it uses to its fullest potential with Oblivion Wing to regain all of its HP. Mawile can beat it with Play Rough, but we then lose Vanillux to kill Lunala with Sucker Punch, by which point 5-turn Trick Room was already gone. We don't progress past Delphox. Now Pangoro returns to tap in for Camerupt, and we do something better for Yveltal. After Focus Sash Trick Rooming, Slowbro escapes to make Sucker Punch fail on Mawile, then her Play Rough goes first to mash the Y Legendary. Then against Lunala again, I go and throw away Pangoro like a dumbass using only Bullet Punch. Why does Lunala make my brain turn off? Mawile kills Lunala again with Sucker Punch, then I bring in Slowbro to Delphox with the express purpose to throw Vanillux under that bus to regenerate. Slowbro comes out once more after Hail has removed the buffs on moves here, and she survives a Dazzling Gleam to Trick Room a second time. Surf hits hard, but Delphox is alive still, and Slowbro isn't. I ran out of Pokemon fast, down to only Hariyama and Mawile, the latter of which sucker punches Delphox down, putting me even with Xena. Now Absol comes out next, and I send Hariyama out against it. But here's the thing. That has been a Mega Absol. That's the first time I've seen an opponent forego Mega Evolving. I don't know why she did, but now the Mega Absol uses Fairy's secondary Sucker Punch, but it's not enough to kill Hariyama, who beats down the Disaster Pokemon with close combat. We're left with only Xerneas, and Mawile is still alive. Iron Head and Victor— No! It lived that? Oh, thank God it flinched. Hail almost killed it anyway, but a Sucker Punch will take care of this. Okay, now victory. Geez, that fight was way harder than I remember. Trick Room is so hard to use on certain fields, especially against a team that has psychic checks for days. Xena believes this is the way things should be, thanking us for helping release her. She then repays us by mentioning how our way forward is hidden. She tells us that Lynn is scared. She's turned to hiding, using Arceus to bury her new creations where we can't find them. She then mentions a creature that could find them. A creature she sealed away long ago in Bixbizian. She bids us to go there, then lock up when we're done, whispering goodnight to her little meteorite, who she will watch over tomorrow too. Xena then fades away. Thank you for all you've done. It won't be for nothing. We now have one lead to go on thanks to Xena, our only lead. So we return to Bixbizian. If you can imagine one place in the wasteland where we'd need to investigate again, what would it be? The Grotto, where we found the Pulse Garbodor. Indeed, venturing all the way down there to the room with several branching paths, you'll find a sign that was not here before, reading, "Beware of Dog." I don't think Xena put this sign here. There's a doorway ahead that did not exist when we last delved these depths. The instant we enter that door, we find another door of the New World variety, and only now do we hear from our antagonist again. She accosts us with questions about why we're snooping around her stuff, doing her best Terra impression, and asks why we can't give her a little alone time. She then guesses that we came here to see her puppy. Yeah, puppy. Just give up the Arceus and not that puppy. This one. This anomalized Naganadel. Oh. Now I tell you, I memory hold this fight completely. I had no recollection of this one. The Ultra Beast that got an anomaly starts with Ferrothorn on Wasteland. That's a flamethrowing. Naganadel will see our fire type with its legendary one, Heatran. Slowbro meets it and survives Magma Storm easily to Trick Room, but falls just short of killing with 2 Surfs thanks to its leftovers. Slowbro faints to be succeeded by Camerupt, which beats Heatran as a formality. Now can he also beat Nidoking with Earth Power? I don't know, so I make it Tectonic Rage to be absolutely sure. The Central Beast makes its appearance next, but sadly, Earth Power couldn't kill that one, and its own Dragon Z move kills Camerupt. Vanillix cleans up, but has a problem. Solgaleo. I still have Drampa with Flamethrower, but that doggo has way too much tank for it, and Sunsteel struck down Drampa. Trick Room faded now though, and that means Houndoom is cleared to do the next Flamethrower. All that Naganadel has left is Lucario, something I know Houndoom outspeeds, even when it megas. Flamethrower is almost enough, but it high jump kicks my dog. But I still have a Sucker Puncher left to make that last sliver of HP go away. So I think I may have realized why I don't remember this fight. It may have just been way too easy. The Ultra Beast disappears, making Lynn gasp that I kicked her puppy. Actually, your puppy literally kicked mine. After this, Lynn whines about where this door even came from, confirming this wasn't one she opened herself. She further complains how she doesn't deserve this when there are murderers out there, saying at least one is a gym leader. All she's doing is making legendaries. The little girl of immense power stops talking now, and we are able to enter this door, which confirms in one more way that it isn't one of Lynn's. It makes a sound we have never heard before, but then right after, we hear something we have definitely heard before. Oh no. Why would you do this? I still can't sleep. But even though she just got done talking outside, Lynn immediately rings us again to bring about the revelation that this isn't her home either. She says she's here just holding down the fort for Tina, who is good at pocket dimensions. Now we step forward in this strange black and white room, strewn about like in the wasteland with all manner of things that don't belong, until we step up to a Malamar standing here. Beyond, a black floor that seems to not fully exist blocks our way on. Talking to Malamar, we are immediately brought into battle. It may seem strange that we are fighting a static Malamar for some reason, unless you allow it to make one move. If you do, then that move will be Topsy-Turvy, which in Reborn is a direct flight to Inverse Field. And when you beat the Malamar on Inverse and return to the overworld, the floor ahead of you changes color to white, and you can continue forward. Now you'll quickly learn the nature of this new puzzle. This isn't the only Malamar. They're all over the place, but unlike the first one, the rest won't bother battling you. Instead, as you progress across gray and white floors and stairs, unable to step on black surfaces, you will talk to these Malamar, and they will invert the floors. Black and white switch places, gray remaining the same. Throughout this room, you'll invert the colors over and over to make linear progress towards this door, while Lavender Town constantly scratches at your mind. Right before you enter the door, though, you'll see an Arceus statue that is apparently inactive. It can take you to the exit. By that it means it will eject you entirely from this realm. I'll explain why you'd want that momentarily. Step through the next door, and the puzzle continues along with Lynn's monologue. Here's her next point. She thinks our friends are being unfair to her. Yeah, really. She says maybe earlier she was the bad guy, but that was just a game. Dude, it's just a prank, bro. I just killed people 'cause lol. She's fully into this line of thinking, that all these adventures we've been going on are her doing. She made all of them, including the ones that made Florinia reconnect to her emotions, going to the past and future, returning all of the people that we battled with Umbral Auras, and the Shaman Garden for Lumi. She says people don't butt in here like they do in the outer world, except for me. But I must just like coming here. Now we return to Malamar flipping the room. The first one up here changes the stairs to white for us nearby, while also darkening this Arceus statue. You'll pass by a couple more statues like that, all that ask if you want to return to the exit, until you get to this Malamar. When you invert the room with this one, you'll be cut off from going anywhere else. But the statue here has become light, and when you touch it now, it does something you've experienced before. Straight from the Palkia quest. You turn transparent and can walk through the space of this room. Now, just like the quest where we caught Palkia and Dialga, we can leapfrog between islands in the dark space to touch these statues and progress south. Malamar here flips the realm, then another statue takes us to the southwest to another Malamar. Head north, go see-through again, then venture north to this statue. From here, you have to go west to a Malamar up the stairs, but this walking through walls ability is tricky to use with stairs. You have to touch the statue from the left and aim for the top stairs to walk left onto the landing. Use Malamar and this statue to walk south to another Topsy-Turvy Pokemon, then climb the stairs to this Arceus statue? It looks distorted. It still functions the same way as all the other statues, so use it to reach Malamar to the northwest, then climb all the Aeshare stairs to go further north. A statue takes us to the left, and this Malamar opens a hopscotch of statues to the right. But it's right here that the puzzle is about to trick you. If you take this light statue to go down to Malamar, talk to him, then use the statue near him, you have undone your progress. For if you go to the right with that statue, you'll find yourself back at the beginning. Nothing has changed over here. You'll see with this Malamar that there's the next door to the north, but the stairs and floors will never work out from this direction. The solution is to remember the other option you have with these statues. You can press the A key to return to the last statue you used. It doesn't matter if it became inactive. So you use the statue, go down to Malamar, talk to it to reverse the room, then warp back to the statue above. Now, the one on the right has become active instead. You need to do that again as you head to the right in order for the next stairs to become usable. Then go to the right and use this alternate statue to reach towards the one in the center of the long walkway. Again, you have to approach this island in a very specific way to avoid getting stuck. Use the statue from the left side and walk to the bottom tiles of the square. Don't try using the stairs. But yet again, if you use this statue down here, you may find yourself unable to complete the room. You cannot reach the door from this statue no matter what you do. You'll walk to the right to Malamar and try the last few steps again over and over, until you find out that if you use the statue from the right side, you can go over and talk to Malamar without losing your transparency. Then you can go to the left and walk down the white stairs in just this way. Before you attempt this movement, save your game. If you mess up and get stuck, then warp back to the statue. It will now be deactivated, and you will learn why the statues are programmed to warp you to the exit if they are off, as a soft lock prevention. However, doing so will reset all the progress in the entire dungeon. Do yourself a favor. Save at spots where you can still move around with a statue. Don't let this happen to you. With this, you will be able to escape the room and move on to the last one, where the hardest puzzle by far awaits. First is Lynn again, who says that she's dizzy. You're not the one solving the puzzle. She tells Tina to go tell Anna that we were chasing Lynn through here. Afterwards, Anna can try and fail to ruin Lynn's fun, like she always does. She goes away again, leaving you with a room that is primed to softlock you, and if not, then to stop you dead in your tracks with a brain-melting puzzle. First, you'll see a statue that lets you reach a Malamar, and two paths extend to the left and right. You can use those two paths, or the initial statue, to go north and find the main puzzle. I'm not going to go over it yet, because doing two side puzzles in this room will make it easier to do this one, and give some extra prizes. I figure out the left side first, where you start by using the statue here to talk to Malamar. Then warp back to the statue so you're on the other side of the black floor directly to the left. Everything further to the left is a red herring. By doing this, you can simply walk down the stairs and use this statue to cross to the orb and get it. When you do, in the north, another statue appears. One of what is undeniably Giratina. From here, go south to this statue, go right to Malamar, flip the dimensions, then go north to another statue to get back to the start of the room. For the right side, have white stairs active to the right of Malamar, then go down the stairs to the white statue and use it. Run out the statue's effects, but make sure you stay in bounds. Climb back up to Malamar and have it flip everything, then warp to your last used statue. This takes you beyond the now black stairs to the inactive statue, letting you reach this other one to the south and cross the gap to the second orb. This materializes a second Giratina statue along with 4 prizes. Make your way back to the beginning the same as the other side, then use the statue on the left to access the top platform and grab a light shard, a Z cell, and 2 items associated to the legendaries closest to Giratina, the Lustrous Orb and the Adamant Orb. By the way, the 2 statues here still act like every other statue. Their presence here is just to make the final puzzle of this quest simpler, not easier, just simpler. To the north is a wall that has multiple shades between white and black, consisting of 5 panels that have differently shaded cracks on them. The plaques on the wall tell you that the way ahead is shown when all 5 panels are solid. At the start of the puzzle, only the center panel is solid. On the sides are 2 pillars that contain 5 more squares, the left being black and the right being white. If you click on the center pillar, then the 2 colors from the top of the side pillars will be mixed together to form a color that sits on top of the center column, while the center column will separate itself into 2 shades to travel to each side. The darker shade will travel left, and the lighter shade will travel right. Clicking on the center pillar from the start will form the same shade at the top of the puzzle, since white and black are polar opposites. Meanwhile, a slightly dark gray will go left, and a slightly lighter gray will go right. So to put it simply, you need to have the 5 center panels be 5 different colors, with white at the top and black at the bottom, the 3 intermediate shades of gray in between. But you can't control the ordering of the shades once they enter the middle column. This is a puzzle of planning, with a twist. Pun very much intended. One thing I haven't explained yet is what happens when you click on one of the other side pillars. If you do, then the squares travel up 1 space from bottom to top, the top one cycling to the bottom. If you move the bottom piece of the dark column up to the top, such that it gets used with the next white block on the right, then when you use the center column again, a lighter shade panel is created. This panel is the color needed to make the second panel from the top solid. You can do this same sort of thing with the right side to make the color needed for the 4th panel. But no matter how light you make the dark side panels on the left, you cannot combine 2 of these shades together that will send a white panel to the center, nor of the inverse for the black panel at the bottom. But there's the twist. Inverse. Malamar controls these pillars too, and when you talk to him, now the light panels are on the left and the dark ones on the right. You may wonder why this matters, until you remember the rules again. The darker shade always goes left, and lighter always goes right. Now you can get an even lighter shade gray to be on the right side, while a white block on the left combines with it. And there you are, a white tile at the top. So now you know how to create all 5 colors you need. The test is, can you create them in the correct order? I reset this puzzle so many times trying to do that, and finally I solved it, as follows. First, click on the center pillar so that the first different shades go to the left and right. Then, go south to get Malamar to invert everything, then go click on the center pillar again. Now, most of the light-colored blocks are on the left with 1 dark one, and vice versa on the right. Get to the left side using the Giratina statue, then bubble the dark block to the top of the left pillar. With the right side sending a black square, click on the center, and a black panel appears at the top. Go back to the left and raise this middle gray box to the top, then click the center again to mix it with a black panel, and now you have the second darkest panel. Now you need the center gray, so use a white and black square together. If you have the 2 remaining white squares on the left, and a darker gray one at the top of the right, followed by the lighter gray one, then click the middle column twice more, and the puzzle is solved. Boy, this one hurt my head. And what's awful is that you can easily muddy up this puzzle into chaos, such that you honestly might as well reset the room to get it back to its original state. Now, a bright door stands before me, and entering has me accosted by Lynn once more. She tells me that unlike Anna, she only had 2 dolls. She then shows me the first one, and the visage of the adult Lynn appears. Current Lynn said this Lynn got the job done, and was like playing a game, using a character who made inevitable forward progress, didn't talk very much, and won every battle she was in. Asking if that sounds familiar. What are you saying? Climb nervously up some stairs in a dark starscape until you reach the top to find the creature controlling this plane. One you should be expecting greatly. Giratina. Then Lynn pipes back up to talk more about the original Lynn we battled when the New World first opened. She argues that even though she made that Lynn, she's not evil herself. It was the doll playing the villain role until everything was fixed. The doll Lynn surely didn't seem interested in stopping Meteor's pulses from being destroyed, only caring about one, the Abra at the Elite Four. It was all to get Lynn out of the Cité Astra. Then she didn't want to get out. She wanted to do better than just leave, after everything she went through. She then mentions her second puppet, a much better puppet, who also said little, but made friends instead of being the villain. They didn't have to win every fight. And now, that puppet is about to have a friendly match with Giratina. You can't make me believe that. Lynn then says it'll be better if Tina dresses up like this. An anomaly cloaks the Distortion Warrior now, and this battle begins. Anomalized Giratina stages its battle as if you could imagine any other option on Inverse Field, the first mandatory fight on it in quite a long time. And it starts with a Pokemon that has both of the most awful types to fight on it. Jinx. Holy shit, Houndoom is bad for that. But switching to Vanillux was a bad call. I was hoping it would use a Psychic move, but it went for Ice Beam. Currently super effective against both Houndoom and Vanillux. He survives, but is too slow to attack before he falls to a Draining Kiss. The only Pokemon who resists Ice here is Drampa. Jinx let him have a free hit while it plotted something nasty, letting him Hyper Voice. It wasn't enough to kill though, but neither was its Signal Beam coming back at him. That made him angry, but also confused. He keeps his head on straight though and kills the Jinx. But next is Lugia. Fuck man, Lunala earlier, now this one too. It dropped its first turn for all stats, but Drampa can't lose his turn to Confusion if we want a reasonable chance to kill it. Fortunately, he snapped out of Confusion right away and hit it, but that damn multiscale reduced the damage so much, and the Life Orb and Hail took Drampa out. Slowbro then went out to barely Trick Room under an opposing Psychic, firing one of those back for a little more damage before dying. This horribly bulky legendary still has a third left, and I don't think that Camerup's Earthquake is guaranteed to kill, so I throw the Z move now. Lugia finally plummets, but I'm way behind and about to fight a Pirouette Meloetta. However, it also threw away its first turn as Mawile came in, so I decide my only chance now is to use Swords Dance and Sucker Punch. Thanks to the inverse weakness here, that knocks out the Dancer and draws the ire of the central legendary itself, Giratina. It won't be weak to Dark here, but we still have Trick Room, and better, it also used a Magical Seed, and we hit it with Iron Head for free. That did half, and Trick Room remained, so we take out the legendary. Somehow we still have Trick Room, but I wouldn't need it against Yveltal. Once again, the Dark Flying type shows up and shows itself out after one Sucker Punch. Now Trick Room gave up though, in time for the worst thing for Mawile here, Weavile. To make matters much worse, it used Ice Shard for super effective damage, and that makes Sucker Punch fail. What makes all of this even worse is that when Mawile lived through another ice shard to hit with Iron Head, it would have killed, if not for Focus Sash. No, please no. Don't take away the win on literally 1 HP. I think that this may be the case until Houndoom lived an ice shard and killed that fucking weasel to win this on the first try. How the hell is that possible? I said winning anomaly fights on the first try this late shouldn't be happening, and then it keeps happening. But man, we got so beat down anyway, there's no way I'm catching Giratina. It rolled shiny by itself! What? Nutty! We put the awesome looking black, white, and purple Giratina into a Reborn ball. That was awesome and exciting. Now it's time to be confused and terrified. The conclusion of the battle with Giratina goads Lyn into talking once more. She says it was more interesting to fight Giratina with an anomaly. There has to be an antagonist of some kind. One that's counter to the person driving the game forward. She says, there's a person behind my actions. Not Oildrum, the character, and not someone else with a certain name, she says. That's my name. My real name. It isn't on screen, but you all know if you've played this game. Lyn says your name to you, saying it isn't you controlling this character. It's her. She's been the one pushing this doll forward. To do these things throughout the game, they've all been for her benefit. We've only fixed things because she allowed us to. She wanted the city rebuilt. She wanted to escape the Cité Astra to meet people and do things again. She says this was why Anna saw a glow around us, only failing to recognize it as Lyn and Arceus due to being too busy manipulating Ame and everyone else. There's no other reason that Oildrum is here but to keep playing this game between these two girls. And the game isn't over yet. There's much more to do. She then goes back into the ether and leaves you very perturbed. What does all this mean? I've never even been the one playing? Is this even a game anymore? What is wrong with all this? And most disturbing, how did it obtain my real name? Of course, being an IT nerd, I know what the game actually did to achieve that effect, and yet again, I don't particularly condone such system scraping. Anyway, with complete and utter paranoia about everything now, you return to the nightclub and discover that a bunch of anomaly activity has been detected now that Giratina's screen has been removed. First, Marcello is hopping up and down to tell you that we didn't fix it. So now, the Rainbow Menace has gone to the desert. Now we'd better go and fix it, and also fix the Rainbow Menace. That isn't possible. I will fix it though. Mew continues to tell us about the lack of 100% Zygarde, but good old Randall next informs us of something new. Barrel Cave is apparently now the site of a temple. No doubt there will be another astronomy in there. Several gym leaders have gone already, so we will go too. Anastasia is back again too, and her request has nothing to do with the New World. There's something strange happening right here in the nightclub. Specifically, a suspicious individual has been loitering around the battle pavilion, apparently making strange noises and disappearing. She asks if we will go have a word with him. To be clear, he apparently favors only the single battle circuit. Thank God it's not doubles. As I said last time, I became extremely familiar running through that place. Maxwell reminds us that an unbelievably horrible ordeal is waiting at Aegir Cave, where Titania and Amaria are. But there's one more new report from Danielle. First, she scolds us for what we did to unblock the anomaly airwaves. Apparently, when we did that, the equipment used to detect anomalies was overloaded by the sudden influx and destroyed. She says that this will make it pretty much impossible to detect any more anomalies after this until it is repaired. Spoilers, that won't be necessary. As for Danielle's last report, it comes in the form of something incredibly fast that could scream across the region in the blink of an eye. She says, though, it is holding position over Charis Mountain by the Pokemon League entrance. The reason it may be stalling there is because Hardy went after it, and that will be the first quest we undertake. After I announce this, our level cap just increased to 145. Yeah, 140 is already gone. There's no way I'm stopping the episode so soon, but it only became known to me when I started doing something else, then realized I had to redo my plans. It isn't reasonable to do everything in this tier today, because as it were, that includes every quest here. All of the ones that were started in past episodes, they'll all be done by the end of this tier. That's way too much for an episode that has already done 2 quests. So instead, we are going to do 2 more, and the last 4 will be covered next time. And so we continue with the quest I just said we would do, heading to Charis Mountain. Fly up to where we battle the Elite Four and head south towards the large dragon statue. As soon as you approach the feet of the dragon, you'll find Hardy, who is also standing before a dragon, Rayquaza. As soon as you near them, Hardy informs us that he just party wiped. Our turn. We immediately begin battle against the Emerald Legendary, the very one we need to free Titania and Amaria from their never-ending battle. Said Legendary of the Sky decides to come out swinging from the start, next to one of the 2 of its fellow Hoenn legends, Kyogre, who proceeds to Primal Reversion. Rayquaza's ability goes off to remove the effects of weather, but Kyogre has other plans. Its reversion makes the downpour begin, but as I go for Trick Room and Destiny Bond as I so often do, Rayquaza isn't about to be upstaged. Next to Primal Kyogre is actually Mega Rayquaza. Now that Primordial Rain is gone. Then the battle goes straight to hell. Get a load of this. Thunder crashes onto Slowbro and one-shots her. Then Origin Pulse missed Houndoom doing Destiny Bond. What utter nonsense. I don't see this turning around. And that's completely true. I never land an attack on them because I didn't think Sucker Punch would change anything. Now Slowbro getting automatically one-shot by Thunder is bad enough, but here's the big picture. Even if she Focus Sashed, she get hit by Origin Pulse 2 before going, so that doesn't work. Instead, I give Houndoom a break from dying tactically to instead bring Hariyama. If Kyogre chooses to use Origin Pulse, then that shouldn't kill Slowbro, so all I have to do is fake out Rayquaza. We do this, only for Kyogre to decide this time to Thunder Slowbro instead, which by the way, can't miss on Snowy Mountain Field. But apparently, Kyogre is just less powerful than Mega Rayquaza, and Slowbro survives that Thunder to Trick Room. Okay, that's a good start, but basically Hariyama has nowhere to go in this fight at this point. He pulls his weight greatly though once more by joining Slowbro's Psychic to close combat Kyogre and beat it. Rayquaza though paid us back with an extremely boosted Icy Wind, which took both of us down at once. Mawile and Drampa come out, only for Yveltal to show up for the 3rd time today. Your quest isn't even going to be in this episode. Why are you so prevalent? Obviously Mawile is heading towards Yveltal with Play Rough, but I should have used Dragon Pulse on the Mega. Drampa's Hyper Voice went first and failed to kill either target, while Mawile's attack easily finished off Yveltal. This caused Drampa to faint easily to another Icy Wind. Vanillux comes out to one of his home fields, only to be greeted by something else that calls this home. Alolan Ninetales. Ironhead that fuck! Ninetales is immediately thrown off the mountain, and Freeze Dry finally overcomes the centerpiece of the anomaly. This causes Rayquaza to send 2 Mythicals against us, its last 2 forces. The accursed Darkrai again, and offense form Deoxys. That Deoxys has some of the worst defense in the game, so with a boosted Blizzard, Vanilluxe should be able to do it as long as he hits without Hail up, and Play Rough will also have to hit Darkrai. Play Rough hits and kills Darkrai! Blizzard hits and kills Deoxys! Superb win! Only 2 attempts. But this does not lead directly into a catching fight against Rayquaza. As soon as the anomaly fades from it, Hardy warns that it's going to fly off again. Indeed, it does. Rayquaza is long gone, and Hardy says it could be anywhere now. With its anomaly removed, it has now become a roaming legendary. Oh yeah, did you think you wouldn't have to deal with roamers when the legendary beast didn't roam? Hardy tells us now what his reason was for being up here trying to get Rayquaza. It should be pretty obvious. He learned about Titania. He wanted to try to do something to show he cared about her despite their frigid relationship, but he was not successful. Something else happened too. He heard, like Taka did last time, Lynn's voice. The fact she's a little girl, though, puts him off, including on whether we're doing the right thing. Don't you also start with that. Is she getting into everyone's heads now? But he shakes that off, saying that the problems would be way worse than a few legendaries. Now Hardy tells us that Rayquaza isn't exactly like every other roaming legendary you've seen. The things it has in common with them are that it will move randomly when you move around the map. The difference is that the next location it goes absolutely does not have to be an adjacent location. It won't go into any inside location. It'll also run away at first upon finding it, but eventually it will get tired and will choose to stay and fight any damage that it had accrued remaining between encounters. Furthermore, we'll be able to tell if it is in our current location by the presence of strong winds. We can also find out where it is currently by looking at our map in the Pokegear. There's 2 things about this roamer though that are different than usual. One of them is that this is a plot-crucial legendary. The game actually cannot be completed until you catch Rayquaza. So what happens if you knock it out? It will go and roost and revive to start a new chase. You cannot fail to catch Rayquaza. As well, even though we just saw Rayquaza in that fight, that doesn't mean it isn't shiny. We'll only determine that when we first encounter it as a roamer. This is all the information you need to catch a Rayquaza, and I don't really have anything to add. Catching roamers has always been one of my least favorite things, so I don't really have a lot of tips for this. I will say this. Anytime you load a different map, either by going in a door or walking over a load trigger, Rayquaza will move. That means you can go back and forth between 2 spots and watch the weather to see if it eventually appears in your area. One place I thought that might work well is in the desert, where I first encountered it. Of course it was not shiny. I mean, back-to-back legendary shiny? That'd be crazy. This first encounter I only expected to hit it with Fake Out with Hariyama before it fled. I figured from then on I could go between a train car and the outside and wait for the sandstorm to change to windstorm, but I wasn't patient enough for this. After that, I simply went to a place near where it was currently and hoped it would stay. I would just whittle it down one Fake Out at a time and try throwing glitter balls at it until it ran. It definitely would be worth catching shiny since there's no threat of losing progress. After a few encounters and quite a bit of damage though, it was staying longer and longer each fight. I brought Zebstrika to paralyze it too. I got very lucky that it then stayed in the exact same place after it ran, so now I knew I could save Scum throwing glitter balls until it eventually was captured. Finally, it was mine, as a shiny, and we take a look at the sky-high Pokemon sporting this badass design. Dark main body with highlights of the colors of the other 2 Hoenn legendaries. And now because of this, we have the requirement necessary to free Titania and Amaria. Well, one of the requirements. What's the other requirement? Overcoming one of the hardest parts of this game. I said that last time too. when I mentioned the double gauntlet of the Tau Trio being harder than the Jirachi triple gauntlet. Well, what we have to do next is harder. If the Tau Trio is the 5th hardest, then the 4th hardest is the Fiore Gauntlet. And the 3rd hardest is what we're about to do. I've long since told you that Glass Hell is what I consider the hardest sequence in the game, which you may debate, but regardless, you may get an idea of what sequence left in this game would take up the last spot of this top 5. About this upcoming suffering, I have understandably dreaded it, which should come as no surprise considering how awful the fight with Amaria was last time. I feel no better now about it, even after all this time. All I can do is enter the fight and hope. When your nerves are steeled enough, return to Aegir Cave to the 2 Umbral leaders, Florinia watching off to the side. When you speak to her, she will ask if you successfully captured Rayquaza. This will prompt you to show it to her, hence why catching it is a mandatory requirement. I was hoping not to have to use it in battle for my no legends or pseudos rule, but I didn't need to fret. Once I show it to Florinia, she is relieved, thinking luck was on our side to find such a specific legendary, then asks if I want to rework my party. Perfect. Even though Rayquaza is going to be in this scene, it doesn't have to be in your party. Instead, I brought back camera up to start this fresh hell with my standard Elite Four team. We step towards the gym leaders, at which point Florinia makes it clear that deploying Rayquaza is probably not enough. We will, of course, have to fight. Florinia's progress with her emotions wavers when she reverts to using the term "this speaker" again, before catching herself and admitting that she finds it easier to hide under the academic guise than face difficult feelings. It turns out, Florinia is not going to help you. She can't help you. Not with them, as she had learned before. She just pleads for us to break them free. Rayquaza appears in the sky now to roar at the 2 gym leaders, who bellow back in gibberish not translatable by emotion or any language. Something that I will have in common with them shortly. For this battle, taking place on Cave Field, is another of the monstrous 6-on-12 fights. You will now face a double Umbral team, which leads with Heliolisk and Jolteon. Boy, that's a huge problem. Slowbro is totally dead, though neither of them are resistant to Heat Wave, so Houndoom goes for it and brings both of them quite low, but knocking out neither. However, Slowbro gets the reprieve she needed when Jolteon went next and discharged, which ended up killing Heliolisk before it could go. That's big for me, especially if that's repeatable. It lets Trick Room begin. Who it's not big for is Houndoom. He's the last half of his name now, as Exploud enters the cave. Slowbro can go first and deal way more damage with Psychic than I expected, but it survived to then blow down everything with boosted Boom Burst, including Jolteon. I need to go for group attacks, which means Drampa and Vanillux. Vanillux's hail, though, gets to be overwritten instantly because Primal Kyogre arrived to bring the Primordial Sea. But Trick Room is a bad place for it, and Vanillux is further prepared. Hyper Voice is unleashed first, which I then realize is also boosted here. It takes out Exploud easily, but Kyogre hangs on, only for Vanillux to freeze dry the whale and wipe their side with no damage. This start is excellent, but I need so much of a lead before I'm able to be calm, especially now that I have to deal with Kyogre's enemy, Primal Groudon, now turning on Cave Sunlight. Next to it is Quagsire, so I know that's where Vanillux is going with Freeze Dry, but Hyper Voice isn't going to take down Groudon on its own. Actually, it fucking is! And Quagsire too! What the fuck? No way, I'm really starting to think I have this. Victini and Meganium next. Again, something good for Vanillux to hit while Hyper Voice keeps rupturing their eardrums. Did Drampa just one-shot both of them too? Flygon and Primarina. They both died! What is happening? Gengar and Lapras. Surely now this is the end of the line. Gengar isn't going to take damage from Drampa. And Lapras is dead! Blizzard hits Gengar and one-shots it! Are you fucking kidding me? We just won! We just won the fight! This is unbelievable! The fact this happened is so monumental to me. I can't be anything but stunned and ecstatic about this. But, if you thought my next words would be, this was way easier than I expected, well, I can't say that yet, because it's not over. The simultaneous defeat of the two Umbral leaders with the presence of Rayquaza reveals the true reason behind this clash. Out from the conflicted couple appear two anomalies, naturally of Kyogre and Groudon. Florinia believes it could be that the red and blue orbs were housing these anomalies to begin with, and this fight that Rayquaza oversaw summoned them forth. But this has also summoned forth Lyn. She admits, of course, that she had a hand in creating this situation, but now, for some reason, is a bit overwhelmed. Why? It isn't you battling these... Wait. No. She complains how it became 6v12 and that there's still more. Then our enemy heals our team. Then she turns to the island crammed with legendaries, anomalies, and Umbra auras and says it's way too crowded. She pitches Amaria into the water. Kyogre decides to either follow or get lost, as Lyn says this is an improvement, minus the part where a by all accounts unconscious Amaria is now potentially drowning. Florinia is shaken at Lyn's appearance and this intrusion, saying that she cannot help because she can't swim. Lyn smirks from on high that this should be good now, as Titania's scrambled scream emits from her again, until it clears up to hear her say, "Quickly defeat me. You are asking way too much." And here we go with one of the worst things ever. The second round of this double gauntlet, in which you have to fight another 6-on-12! I don't care you get healed! This is sadism! It starts with a Fire Ninetales for once, next to Venusaur. It is nice that this fight starts on grassy terrain and the sun just came out to make it really tempting to Heatwave. But what's fucking ridiculous is that it's Venusaur who went first because it had chlorophyll to double its speed in the sun. It shot Sludge Bomb right at Houndoom, but it doesn't kill him. And he blasts both opponents with a boosted Heat Wave, killing Venusaur right away. But then it all ends. Ninetales attacked with Dark Pulse on Slowbro, critting for a lot of damage, and making her flinch. No! That whole first fight wasted in a single turn! I'm totally ruined. Pheromosa appears on the left now, stepping into a burning field that will hurt it a lot, but what am I supposed to do now? Pheromosa is also faster than Houndoom and kills him with Silver Wind, and Dark Pulse hits Slowbro again. What? I was turning my head in disgust. I had completely given up. Then Slowbro lived the second Dark Pulse and didn't flinch this time to Trick Room. Okay, this is still not good, but we salvaged this a little bit. Slowbro though fainted right after to the flames. Time for Drampa and Vanillix to land on the field again, but this time around we are not nearly as well suited. First, to be clear, the first battle was heavily in my favor level-wise. I had a huge lead on them, and we were in Cave Field to boost Hyper Voice. Now their levels are pretty much even with ours, and that move isn't boosted, and currently, Blizzard has half power. However, this turn, Hyper Voice does kill the Mega Fast Ultra Beast, and Vanillix's Blizzard could finish off the Ninetales. But things then take a huge nosedive from there. Ho-Oh. Mega Blaziken. Wow, this is bad. I almost turned things around with a Surf from Drampa that nearly kills Blaziken, takes half from Ho-Oh, and unburns the grass, but Vanillix's full power Blizzard wasn't enough to beat both of the opponents, only the Mega falling. It's expected that the Phoenix launched its Sacred Fire at Vanillix and vaporized him. I went with Mawile instead of Camerupt here since I don't need Rock Slide to finish Ho-Oh, and Mawile is met with Sky Shaman. Thanks to the Hyper Voice being able to finish off Ho-Oh and deal half to Shaman, Mawile's Iron Head can beat the Mythical. And then, the most maddening enemy appears next. Lunala! No! It's just not possible to kill that quick enough. Next to it is Primal Groudon. Then I got so close to breaking through it. Sucker Punch attacked Lunala and crit, and it lived by 10%. Hyper Voice was my move again, which can obviously only hit Groudon, and unlike the last battle, it isn't even close to killing in one hit. Then Moonblast and Precipice Blades are fired back from the two legendaries to wipe out my side. Damn it! It's over. Only Camerupt remains, and I didn't get nearly far enough. One of the most annoying things about this is that Earthquake has half power on grassy terrain, the only way I could have reasonably killed both Groudon and Lunala together. That was what I thought, until Earth Power then hit with full power on Groudon's lower special defense, and it still survived. It didn't matter. Menacing Moonray's Maelstrom blows up Camerupt. I found a path through the first battle that was so awesome, only to crash into the wall that is this fight. This was gutting, because I wasn't yet sure if beating that first fight was going to be a consistent endeavor. But then I learned that as long as Heat Wave hits Heliolisk in the first turn and Slowbro doesn't lose her turn to paralysis, then the first fight basically goes exactly the same. Now that I know Houndoom is screwed, I just surf him and the enemies with Slowbro to take out Jolteon and do damage to Exploud, but it gets to the same point. There are some minor issues throughout the fight. Kyogre must be hit by 2 attacks to die. Groudon may survive sometimes, as well as Victini and Primarina. However, Vanillix's extra attack goes to waste every time Drampa kills both, so his attack always cleans up on those ranges. The only other issue is at the end with Gengar, where Vanillix has to land a Hailless Blizzard to kill the Ghost type. But even if he doesn't, I have Mawile left to Sucker Punch the bastard out. So shockingly, somehow, I can actually not mention the first battle anymore. That is, unless I have to start changing my team, at which point these matchups may no longer happen the same way. And judging by how the second battle went, I have a bad feeling I'm changing up my team. But there's one thing I really need to know. Can the second fight go better if Slowbro can put up Trick Room on the first turn? Don't get to know this attempt! She flinched again! Fuck you! We get right back into the same position, only now, Slowbro wasn't crit and put up Trick Room's second turn, so she had enough HP to stay standing. Drampa comes in and helps Slowbro beat Pheromosa and Ninetales, Slowbro's Surf putting out the fires. But Lunala came in much earlier this time, next to Mega Blaziken. They can both easily kill us, and I don't have a chance to kill both of them first. I make what was probably a poor choice and tried Flamethrower on Lunala for almost nothing thanks to Shadow Shield, and Hyper Voice did barely half to Blaziken, only to be rewarded with it missing High Jump Kick and crashing right into the water and fainting. Lunala, though, Moonblasted Slowbro, who is replaced by Mawile. Shaman's back, and I see a good turn. Sucker Punch on Lunala and Flamethrower on Shaman. Yes, that was enough to floor them both. But what's there to be excited about? Do I have anything to deal with Ho-Oh and Groudon? No. Sucker Punch does less than half to the bird, Hyper Voice doesn't kill either of them. Then Sacred Fire melts Mawile, and Precipice Blades skewer Drampa. Camerupt and Vanillix are all that I have now, though I know now to Z-move that damn Groudon to kill. I really didn't think Blizzard would actually kill Ho-Oh, but it did. And yet we have more opposing Pokemon to introduce. Reshiram, Xurkitree. No, I want Camerupt to hit both of them, but Earthquake would be shit. Meanwhile, Vanillix can't be expected to kill either of them, and if Reshiram lives, he's dead. Camerupt goes first and aims his Earth Power at Xurkitree, which dies to it, but Blizzard then does less than help, by missing in the no hail. But Reshiram missed Blue Flare! And it's alone! Earth Power and Blizzard both hit? No! It survived! and had the first blizzard hit, it would have died. What's worse is that blue flare was aimed at Camerupt instead, and it one-shot him. Then the last nail in the coffin is pounded in. Trick Room abandoned me with Reshiram at 2 health. It quickly made it a lot more with Roost. Vanillux wasn't lucky enough to dodge blue flare himself and faints. At the time, I had thought that was it. I thought that was the last Pokemon, and all I needed was Reshiram to get hit by the first blizzard. But you have the UI on screen showing you that I was still far away from victory. I have no idea how to replicate this performance, but I think that I still haven't gotten the luck to just not flinch on the first turn. But I'm quickly resetting again when the first turn of the first fight goes completely wrong and Slowbro lost her initial turn to paralysis. Then the next attempt goes straight to hell when I don't attack Gengar with Vanillux while Primarina lived a Hyper Voice, and I only get bailed out by a Sucker Punch killing the straggler Flygon. The third attempt at the second fight. Can I please Trick Room first turn? Yes, and so far Venusaur has not dodged Heat Wave. But whereas the Bug Ultra Beast was coming out after Venusaur, Trick Room makes Xurkitree come out. And for some fucking reason, after Slowbro and Ninetales, Xurkitree with a speed stage is slower than Houndoom. It lets Fire Blast plus its Dazzling Gleam erase my side after Slowbro's Flamethrower couldn't claw in a kill. A self-inflicted Fire Spin and field damage does beat that beast, leading Blaziken to take its place amidst the Inferno. I needed badly for Drampa to kill Ninetales with Hyper Voice, while Camerupt easily killed the Mega with Earth Power. But no, Ninetales lived to Fire Blast Camerupt for a ton of damage. Primal Groudon arriving after is fine with me, as Hyper Voice kills the Fox and Tectonic Rage decimates the Ruby Legend. Then came Ho-Oh and Shaman, and I believed I would be good here. I have Rock Slide and Drampa's Flamethrower, but it all goes to fucking hell when I get unlucky. I went for Hyper Voice, which didn't kill Shaman, and then Rock Slide missed Ho-Oh. Shaman was caught in the slide and beaten, but Ho-Oh dispatches the biggest threat to it by Sacred Firing Camerupt. Ho-Oh is one of the worst things in this fight. It is so monstrously tanky and its Sacred Fire gets so powerful with the Burning Field. Pheromosa out next died simply to Flamethrower, but my only neutral move on Mawile to Ho-Oh, Sucker Punch, was not even close, and she was lost to Sacred Fire along with some regular fire. I've narrowed the fight down to 2-on-1 again, yet I can't imagine I win this. We beat Ho-Oh, and Trick Room went on yet one more turn. But we still haven't beaten Lunala yet. Fuck that side. There was nothing I could do. If Drampa could have gone second, then maybe it could hurt Lunala better than Vanillux, but it remained, Moonblasted Drampa, Trick Room died, and Vanillux followed right after. I returned to the second fight again on the next attempt with the same team. I'm feeling low about this. How much do I think I can squeeze out of this composition? We didn't flinch or miss Venusaur. I attacked Ninetales now instead of Xurkitree to help Drampa, who then went on to kill both Ninetales and the Ultra Beast, Camerupt taking no damage. Ho-Oh and Blaziken both showed up now, which I hate. Camerupt is so good against too many opponents. But he has a job. He has to Rock Slide Ho-Oh. This time he does, and it crits! Are you serious? It lived that? It lived crit quad weakness with a Hyper Voice? That was where my attitude towards this fight plummeted right back to where I had expected it to be. After finding a way through the first round with incredible consistency, I now was learning I stood no chance at the second phase. High Jump Kick and Ho-Oh's own Earth Power destroy my side, the stupid Firebird only fainting thanks to Life Orb. I only have Vanillux and Mawile left, and that's when we find one of the last two opponents from Umbral Titania. Houndoom. Mega Houndoom. I tried so hard to prevent us from fainting to a fire attack from the double Megas, killing Blaziken with Iron Head and starting Rain Dance. But even though that weather change did keep Vanillux from dying to Fire Blast, The rain didn't quench the flames on the ground before they consumed him. The flames die out, but the rain also dries out from Groudon appearing, taking us into the most depressing rainbow ever. One more play rough can't pull in a KO on Houndoom. So now I know. It's time to switch teammates, and here's the reality. What in blazes is Vanillix doing in the second fight? Not much. Almost everything that's a problem is fire type. The only thing he sees that he can deal with is Shaman, but Burning Field is probably better for me than Grassy Terrain, which hurts him more and makes his attacks worse. So who am I using instead? I don't have much of anything slow that hurts fire types. I can't really rely on water either thanks to Burning Field, Sunlight, and Primal Groudon, so I'd need rock or ground. I don't have any of those, so I decided to just try using Hariyama for this. This means that Vanillix doesn't accompany Drampa in the first fight anymore, but that doesn't change anything. In fact, it becomes better. Close combat can kill Kyogre just fine, and knockoff can't miss against Gengar. Bizarrely though, on the next attempt, I ended up missing Heliolisk with Heat Wave for the first time, and it instead killed Jolteon with Surf, left Slowbro alive to Trick Room, and she and Drampa went through the rest of the fight themselves. Back to the part that matters, which sees Houndoom go 1 for 4 on Heat Waves this attempt, because he missed both of them. Fuck this. The only reason I kept going was because Houndoom lived a Dark Pulse on the next turn after Slowbro beat Venusaur with her own Flamethrower, thus putting us at about the same points, but with one less Trick Room turn. Ninetales and Blaziken down to Psychic and Hyper Voice. Drampa and Slowbro are wasted by Lunala and Groudon. Sucker Punch cuts through Lunala while a Fake Out stalls Groudon with its stupidly high defense. Then Ho-Oh shows up, survives both Sucker Punch and Knockoff, and they kill Mawile and Hariyama. Camerupt is alone again, and though he lasts one more turn with Rock Slide killing Ho-Oh and flinching Groudon, all he can do next turn is Tectonic Rage to beat Reshiram only to die to Precipice Blades. I can't make it far enough. The fight never ends. Fight number 1 gone another time, succeeding with Hariyama helping Drampa across the cave. We have a normal start of the second fight now, with Venusaur dying and Trick Room starting, Xurkitree out. We hurt Ninetales with Slowbro, my first 2 faint. Drampa kills both with Hyper Voice. Then Ho-Oh and Blaziken are back, and I decide I need to focus Blaziken down with Camerupt, but for doing so, he's buried by an opposing Earth Power. Then I brought in Hariyama, only to foolishly fake out the Groudon while a flying type is floating there. It used Brave Bird on him to one-shot him, though his mattress quality takes all of Ho-Oh's remaining life from recoil. Ho-Oh is just replaced by Lunala, both of these legendaries just equally unkillable, and I lose again. I'm now starting to realize something else. What is Mawile doing in this fight? Sadly, there is one big thing. Killing Lunala with Sucker Punch. That's something that pretty much the rest of my team cannot do. However, I'm losing justification for keeping her here with so many fire and ground types. I decide that even though I'm keeping her, I'm switching to Mega Camerupt. Attempt 8 overall, I try something different than allowing Houndoom to die after Trick Room begins. He bails for normal Mawile, only for Dazzling Gleam and Burning Field to almost kill her instead. It basically amounts to nothing as Drampa kills Xurkitree and Ninetales like usual, while she died to the field. Groudon and Ho-Oh appear this time, and we see that Camerupt being Mega creates a better outlook against Ho-Oh. Now Rock Slide almost kills it non-crit, and Hyper Voice takes it out. But Groudon being the other opponent there dooms Camerupt. Precipice Blades destroying him, while Drampa lived and got upset. But in my desire to kill Groudon that turn with Hyper Voice, I left Lunala with full HP, Shadow Shield preventing Hariyama's knockoff from having a chance to kill, which was already slim since it was holding a Z Crystal. Drampa died then after Groudon, and I have a Houndoom left trapped in a Trick Room. Hariyama manages to slap down the Lunar Bat, but dies to Mega Blaziken, which Houndoom is hopelessly outclassed by. Speaking of hopelessly outclassed, joining that Mega is Mega Houndoom. What can I do? 6 Pokemon are not enough to beat all that! Nothing about my team changes for the next attempt, and I decide to go a different route. Slowbro uses Surf to hurt Xurkitree and Ninetales, putting out the flaming field. After this, Mawile and Drampa kill them to once again get Lunala out here and make me angry. Mawile's only attack that will kill Lunala is Sucker Punch, but not when it's at full HP. There is nothing Drampa can do to hurt it before Mawile punches, so I decide I have to tolerate it and use Play Rough on Blaziken beside it. It missed. The entire attempt is failed after that. I'm running out of sanity. This is happening again, just like last time. An insurmountable wall that I'm pretty sure I only defeated by using items in battle. I have no confidence about Hariyama actually doing much useful in this fight, so I decide to replace him. However, I don't use a Pokemon I've ever shown being used in this playthrough yet. It is one, though, that I used before, actually coming into my party in this same tier for a different quest. I was planning to use her for that same quest again, because she destroyed that fight. I hope that she can turn this horrible battle around for me too. Amoonguss. A slow and bulky Pokemon that would love using Trick Room to use Spore? Why the hell haven't I used this earlier if I already knew about it? I've been liking how well I've handled battles until now, so I didn't think I needed her, but I need something to change with this fight. Now I'm pretty dumb and have her set up to use special attacks along with Spore, but whatever. The thing I need most from her is to hobble my enemies with an unmissing sleep move, such that Camerupt or others can do what they need to do. However, something really bad has occurred because of this. Now, neither Vanillux nor Hariyama are here to help Drampa take down the first stage, so instead, Camerupt joins him. And that throws everything into chaos. When Camerupt and Drampa appear to explode, instead of Kyogre, Primarina shows up. What's the big deal? Well, when they both die, the next two Pokemon out are both Primals. And together, their Rain and Sun mix to form Rainbow Field, taking away Hyper Voice's Cave Boost. Now you may think, hey, Rainbow also boosts Hyper Voice. Yeah, and gives it a random type. As such, the entire fight's progression is completely messed up. I barely get through the enemies by the skin of my teeth thanks to Quagsire's Earthquake not killing Mawile and Amoonguss. This isn't good. If the consistency of the first fight is lost, then what chance will I have to beat both rounds at once? For now, I will have to put aside such anxiety and hope that Amoonguss tilts the fight enough for me to finally pass this gauntlet. She comes out to Ninetales and Xurkitree, and this one time, I want the Ultra Beast not to die this turn. I want Amoonguss to put it to sleep such that it's still around and sleeping next turn when its next ally shows up and I put that one to sleep too. In this way, one Pokemon can't act while the other is slept without recourse, and the two take a huge Hyper Voice. This almost goes exactly how I want. Xurkitree survived Hyper Voice, but then it died to its own seed-given Fire Spin. Damn it! Now I have Blaziken and Ho-Oh here. They'll both surely kill her. I have to try to survive, but I end up putting Blaziken to sleep, which was wrong. Ho-Oh was much more likely to kill her, while Blaziken would have gone for a fighting move on Drampa. Instead, Sacred Fire burns up my fungus, and nothing on their side died. Mawile is here with Stone Edge now, and Drampa and her take down that side, but with Amoonguss gone, we are back in the same spiraling scenario. Lunala's here again. We kill a Shaman, a Groudon, and a Pheromosa to empty out that fucking thing's allies, and yet it proceeded to kill the rest of my entire team. Fuck this. We need to do something more. Mawile just doesn't cut it. This second battle has so much that's weak to rock and ground, and keeping the field on fire is actually helpful, as opposed to going back to grass where they all get free leftovers too. So I wanted to find something that was ground and rock, so it would stab with those types, and resist the fire damage from the floor. It also would be good if it was slow to benefit from Trick Room, so you might guess who that will be. Rhyperior, a shiny one I had. He's going to be second Camerupt, just less accurate. Drill Run and Stone Edge, plus Horn Drill in case I really just need a Hail Mary, and also Shadow Claw, a way to continue dealing with Lunala. I don't know how much I'll need her after this, but I need to be free of this. But Rhyperior is the witness to the terrible fate I was worried about in the first fight. She and Drampa showed up to explode, but the Harbinger of Death, Primarina, showed up instead of Kyogre like before. We kill them, and then Rainbow Field takes over again. Then 2 Hyper Voices in a row fail to kill Groudon, the second time completely ineffective, and Groudon kills Drampa and Rhyperior. Try as I might, I could not wrest back control of this fight. And besides the bullshit first turn paralysis attempt, I lose the first battle for the first time. Now I've lost consistency. If I want to carry this team to the second fight, I have to tolerate RNG ruining Drampa. But the next attempt, something even more baffling happens. Heliolisk was hit by Heat Wave and then didn't die to Jolteon. Instead, we get that same scenario with Slowbro tagging along with Drampa the whole way, which allows us to get out of the first round again. This is awful. The first fight has become nothing but fluky. We have been granted another opportunity to try winning the second battle of this terrible gauntlet, now up to attempt 12. Everything goes normally at the beginning, except that Ninetales missed Fire Blast on Slowbro, so she survives just barely. With Circuitry dead, I then consider something while bringing in Camerupt. The Pokemon joining Ninetales is Groudon. I can easily kill that with Camerupt, and I should. So what if I didn't kill Ninetales? It seems like it can't really do as much as some of the other horrible Pokemon waiting behind it. It definitely can't kill Camerupt. I heard it a bit with Slowbro, who responds by killing her, but Groudon was one-shot by Camerupt's Earth Power. I decide to bring my new fighter Rhyperior in now, while Pheromosa shows up. It sucks that I now have to go for Lava Plume to kill that, which is going to hurt Rhyperior. It actually hurts her a lot, while Pheromosa died, and I go for Drill Run just to get rid of Ninetales. But my major reason for bringing Rhyperior was for Ho-Oh, and now instead we get Blaziken and Lunala. Camerupt can attack the Mega Chicken and easily beat it, but Lunala of course survives Shadow Claw from full HP. Rhyperior is then Moongeisted down already. I've since put Shadow Ball on Drampa in the event that I still had to kill the damn Lunala since Mawile is gone. Meanwhile, Shaman appearing means I have to Lava Plume again. But thankfully Drampa takes less from that than Rhyperior did, hurting Lunala considerably and killing Shaman, which makes Shadow Ball easily finish Lunala off. This has now completely exhausted the Groudon side, leaving me next with Ho-Oh. All I need is Rock Slide to hit. It did! Now both of the intolerably tough enemies on the right are dead, and our Trick Room is still going. If it gets to the end of the fight, then nothing should be able to stop my double offensive. Mega Houndoom appeared now, which cannot even survive Earth Power. But, horribly, Trick Room did not last long enough. It's gone right as Reshiram appeared. Then Camerupt's streak of one-shotting ends when he hits Reshiram after it hit us with Rock Slide to kill Drampa, and his Earth Power left it on 1. No, why couldn't it have died? It's a Moongus and Camerupt left. That dragon is almost certainly going to burn up my fungus. Roost? It decided to roost? When it took nearly a one-shot from an Earth Power? The Reshiram just threw. I can't understand why it did that, but we just did it. I thought. You see, I had still not counted right. Because for some reason, I was thinking I had beaten Kyogre in this fight already, even though that's absurd and wrong. No, there's one more Pokemon, and it's coming from Titania, and it has more than enough capability to end the fight. Aegis-fucking-slash. Fuck. Who's fastest here? What's even the play? I have to just hope that Camerupt can even get to attack. It turned out Aegis-slash is the fastest and launched a Shadow Ball at Camerupt. He lived! And that's it! Earth Power kills Aegis-slash It's fucking over! What a complete hellhole of a battle! And my god, that ending! Let me paint the picture of suffering that would have been had Camerupt not fucking survived in the most important moments. Burning Field would have been hurting both of us badly. 1/4 return. Amoonguss was already hurt, and we both had leftovers. Amoonguss would have already put Aegislash to sleep, but the only move she has that can even hurt Aegislash is Giga Drain. The chance that Aegislash stayed asleep as long as possible for the Burning Field to kill it and not Amoonguss at the same time was basically zero. That tiny fragment of HP on Camerupt is the entire margin of error this victory had. Thank God, it's done now. One of the last worst sequences in the game is behind me. Of course, I already said that sometime in the distant past too, when I beat the Kyogre Groudon stupid double battle fuckwit sequence as this screenshot is titled. Appears that I was dead set on Vanilluxe being here with Vanilluxe Blastoise and the rare Mienshao appearance. I have to imagine I was using Camerupt the same way as today, but Mienshao's only usefulness could be in the fact that she had Drain Punch and was only surviving because of that. I couldn't tell you what each fight was like in this gauntlet back then, only that it was a blur of pure suffering. It's finally over, as both the Anomaly and Umbral Auras are erased from their hosts. Titania speaks now, angry that she lost control as she did, and apologetic for causing this problem. Remember, it wasn't you, it was Lyn. Or me? She then immediately turns her attention to Amaria as Florenia speaks up to tell the Steel Leader she was thrown into the lake. Titania asks why Florenia is just standing here, belittling her answer that she can't swim. Come on, Titania, the drowning can't lead the drowning. At this time, Groudon enters the conversation, at which point Titania relents and says she'll rescue Amaria. I have to deal with the Ruby Box Legendary. When you enter the catching segment for Groudon, it immediately primal reversions again, indicating that we will obtain the red orb when we catch it. Now, I don't have to tell you that I caught Groudon with a Reborn Ball, right? I mean, come on. I had 2 Pokemon left barely alive. If you caught this Groudon shiny, my hat's off to you. You have incredible perseverance, skill, and a great deal of luck. Shiny Groudon is something you already saw, basically swapping palettes with Kyogre. With 1 legendary caught, we now see Titania back on land with Amaria, unconscious. At Florenia's asking about her health, Titania says that no matter how many times Amaria has done this and scared her, Amaria will live. Florenia apologizes, suddenly shrinking back behind the clinical speak again. Titania jumps on her at this, but not angrily. Titania makes it clear she recognizes Florenia's progress, and further tells her not to say sorry either. She's tired of seeing Florenia react. She wants her to act based on her emotions, not hide behind this facade anymore. Florenia agrees, and even though she feels useless, she's glad she's here now. Titania tells her she's glad she's here too. She then finally admits the wrong she was in, pushing away Florenia when Titania needed her to keep from being alone with Amaria, their relationship spiraling ever down. Florenia is appreciative of this closure at long last, then mentions something. We still have another legendary to go get. Florenia wants to stay here with her friends, so guess it's time to go grab a Kyogre, after I save a billion times. Also talk to Titania again, who says that as for her and Amaria, this is the last time. Amaria won't make the decision, so Titania will have to. She then heals us. Oh good, thank you. Head north up the waterfalls to return to that new world door that leads to the basin, at the north end of which is Kyogre. Once again, the Hoenn legend goes primal, but in the face of its fellow primal, I throw 1 glitter ball and take it. Nice. Too bad that only 2 out of 3 of the Gen 3 boxers gets to be shiny. Kyogre's scheme being like Groudon's, where it steals the color of the game it wasn't in. Once you've obtained Kyogre, Julia will suddenly arrive from the north to tell us that Amaria is awake now. She'll be down to join them after she does another stunt dive from the top of this basin into the new world door without hitting her head. Back at the Island of Death, you'll find the Onyx School alumni all gathered here, and speaking to them begins the closing chapter of their common backstory. Julia thinks this means this is the beginning of a new era in their friendship together. Titania makes it clear this is the end. They work together here to make sure no one died, but the conflict within this group still remains. There's no fixing it, no matter what kind of happy ending someone wants. Julia feels slighted by this, asking what about those who just cared about the two of them and everything they shared. Titania says that's her problem. Florinia asks Amaria now, who hasn't spoken once yet, if this is how she feels too. The water leader says she wishes she was someone who didn't need to constantly lean on someone as she has been doing. She isn't happy with this, but of course wasn't happy before either. Instead, the only right thing to do, seeing as how she can't be happy, is to let the person she cares about the most be free. She too is tired of living out a story that she knows won't end well. Titania says there are better stories for them to experience, and Amaria agrees. With this, the two conflicted leaders leave, their story together coming to an end, leaving Julia despondent that their school-era friendship has completely vanished. However, Florinia tells Julia that it doesn't mean they can't be friends anymore. In fact, she wishes to hang out with Julia more. And that opens the floodgates of death-defying activities a very excited Julia then suddenly plans for them to do as new best friends. Good luck, Florinia. With this, the first two gym leaders we battled in this region thank us for all that we've done, and ask if we would like to return to the nightclub. Yeah, now I can get off this shitty island that took a grand total of 28 attempts to conquer. This brings our time this episode to a close, as the Onyx School graduates all have final words about their relationships together and what may lie beyond. I know what lies beyond for me. We are fast approaching the final level cap. Only 4 quests remain before we reach that ultimate threshold, and 2 of those quests, as you already know, are quests that we had to put on hold. But it isn't just 2. As you'll learn, we have some unfinished business.